Welcome back to the garage, everybody, and in this episode we're going to be installing some body panels. I have the passenger side door sitting right next to me. I pulled this out of the basement where it's resided for the last 2 years. It's a lot heavier than I remember. With that, I just want to say, if you're going to be doing this in your own garage on your own project, I suggest that you find a partner or somebody to assist you, because it will make your life a lot easier than mine. I'm going to be using a jack to assist me in lifting the heavier components, but aside from the doors, I do have the front fenders I need to install. I'm going to swing the engine back into place temporarily and set the hood on to see how much room I have between the Holley Sniper EFI and the bottom of the hood, to see what kind of game plan I'm going to have to come up with in order to fit an air cleaner. With that, I thank you guys for joining me, and let's get rolling. Yeah, we'll go with that. Slow pumps. If I drop this, I quit. I need a third hand. That's what I'm talking about. Get a partner. Do it yourself, they said. It would be fun, they said. Alright, so as you can see, I got the door installed and roughly lined up. I still got to throw the front fender on to get that relationship set, but I can already tell you that I'm going to have a problem. If you look from the top here, from inside to outside, I have this lined up pretty darn close. It's not perfect because I don't have a door striker in here, so I can't permanently set it, but pretty close. This side is higher than this side, but then this side is higher than this side. And then when you look from the back forward, you can see that this whole shape is not even remotely close to to what it should be. So we're gonna have a change of plans for this video. I am going to hang this door, or I got this door hung, I'm gonna hang the front fender, get that relationship set, and then I'm gonna show you how I'm going to fix this. What I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna have to go through here, I'm gonna have to clean up all this body filler from when this rear quarter was replaced. I'm gonna have to clean up and get this separated so I can then pull this quarter out and get it to match up with the door. I might throw the striker in to help assist with that, but we'll see. I'm pretty sure I had to drill out the fasteners to get that out. Anyway, so gotta get that front fender hung and in position, and then we'll roll into this.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait.
Bring the funk back.
All right, so this actually kind of looks like a car now. Look at that. Mustang. All right, anyway. Got the fender on for the most part. I'm actually missing some hardware to attach the bottom. So I threw a screwdriver in through the two mounting holes and held it in a way that made this gap even, but it's still kind of big. And I can't bring the fender back any further, and I can't, I mean, I can bring the door forward. Maybe I'll bring the door forward. That's such a pain though. So I'll probably have to come in here. That's hard to do with the fender in place. I don't know if you can see that, but that's where the hardware is, which is why they usually have you get the door gapped to the rear fender, and then you gap the front fender to the door. Like, you work your way from the back forward, and in this case I have to work from the forward back. This is backwards is what I'm getting at. So I will pull the fender back off and attempt to bring the door forward until this gap, let's see, where's my, let me grab my ruler. Until this gap is, we'll go the smallest gap here. We'll make that 3/16. I don't know if you can see that. Basically brings it forward 3/16. This gap is currently the biggest portion of my gap. I'll go down here since they're pretty flush. It's currently, damn, 3/16 is huge. Am I counting that right? No, hold on. Quarter, yeah, no, 3/8. That is 3/8. I can't read a ruler today apparently. So we'll make that a 1/4 inch, which will bring it forward 1/8, which in turn would make this a 1/4. I guess I'll just split the difference. And then we'll open the door and see if it hits. I don't think it will, but we'll see. And then we'll press on with this nightmare. All right, I think I finally got it figured out. I had to take a break, so this is the next day. Anyway, got my gap squared up, nice and clean here. Still have the top of the door for the most part lined up here. Now we can start working this. If you look, I don't know how well you can read this, but I got 1/8 inch there, about an 1/8 inch there, and then here, this is the furthest point out, and about an 1/8 inch there. So the door and the front fender are where they belong. Now to get the rear quarter to jive with the rest of what's going on. So the next step, which I touched on briefly, come in here, I gotta finish getting all this filler out and free up the front edge of this quarter panel so I can pull this. Honestly, I feel like if I release it, it's just gonna wanna come out anyway, but there's a possibility that it's not going to, but I gotta get this to come out. So I'm gonna set you up somewhere where you can see this clearly while I do it, and we'll get rolling. Alright, that was a nightmare to get loose because it was stitch weld, really boogery plug welds. But I got it loose, pulled it out a little bit, tried to straighten out I still got to straighten out a little bit up here, but tried to straighten out as best I could. Now it's where I gotta fit it to the door. So get the tops lined up. I swear this thing's gotta come out like a hole. Well, lined up here now. As you can see, the tip needs to come out. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I wanna do this. These sharp point, well, I say sharp, but these sharp body lines, you don't wanna build a lot of body filler because that's where the paint's gonna end up chipping. So you wanna get this as close as you can. That way all you're doing is refining the body line with your filler. At that point it's not really filler, it's just a tool to sharpen your lines. So I gotta figure out how I'm going to bring this out without bringing this lower edge out. So you see if I bring the tip, it brings that. Which makes me wonder if I need to cut a relief in here so when it comes out, it kind of folds a little bit. Anyway, I'm gonna toy with this, try and get it close as I can, and then I'll bring you in to show you what I did. And this is one of those things where it's literally just, it's trial and error. And this is the first time I've encountered this, so I may royally booger this up. So wish me the best of luck. Well, this is quickly spiraling out of control. As you can see, there's a cut that we weren't initially planning for. And let me explain why. As you can see, I've got my tip pretty dang close. This still needs to come in a little bit. That's pretty close. And here's what my issue was. So, whoever and whenever this rear quarter got replaced, this is a nightmare too, so please ignore it. So whenever this rear quarter got replaced, they cut the old corner, or the old, the old quarter, and they left themselves a ledge, and you can kind of see it down here. This is the rusty sheet metal. They left themselves a ledge that they could index it onto. And then they rested the new quarter on and then just welded in this channel here. Well, since they had that extra material in there, it caused this quarter to have to be just a tiny bit taller than it should have been originally, causing it to suck in at the bottom. Or I guess in the center, not the bottom. And then in order for that to work with the B pillar, they folded this tip in, which normally would have supported this tip. And in order for me to get the panel to come back out, I had to make a relief cut coming back. And if you look carefully, you can see that right now, this portion of the panel here is actually sucked in compared to the top. So now I got to figure out how I want to play this. This part will eventually come back in because that matches the door and it'll get re-welded. I'll obviously have to stitch this entire groove, which is going to cause a little bit of warping, but ultimately it's not going to be awful. My biggest concern is getting the correct amount of support underneath where the B-pillar is and where it's been chewed up. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. I may decide, might decide to just stitch in a replacement piece, because obviously this is pretty chewed out and cut out. Anyway, let me chew on this for a little bit, and then when I get a game plan going, I'll bring you in and show you what I come up with. Alright, so here's the plan. I already started, and it may not work, but I think it'll be okay. So let me just get in here real quick. So I got this mild steel that was in the corner of the garage, and I already cut out the folded over tip of this B-pillar. And what I'm going to do is fill the hole. I might actually go in and just cut a straight line and then trace it out. Cut it and then fit it in from the back side, clamp it, and stitch weld a whole new, I guess, extension off of this B-pillar. That'll give me fresh steel that isn't rusted to weld to for this center section, and will allow me to put some strength back into this corner, because my current fear is with this being as far away from this B-pillar and only having this little edge to weld to, that if you smack this or somebody smacks this, it's gonna just, I mean, I know it's a corner and it's stronger, relatively speaking, but I would like to have some meat behind it. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm gonna draw myself a line, probably 1/8 quarter inch out from this point, go straight down, set this in place, trace it on the outside edge of the quarter panel, take my time, cut it out, slide it in place, kind of back it in, and then stitch that in place, and then weld the rest of this, and then come up with another plan for up here, which might just be slowly working my way forward with it. But yeah, this is gonna take me a while. So yeah, let's go from there. So I got it cut. Got a nice straight edge to go off of. I'm gonna line this edge with it best I can. It's okay if it becomes a little shorter because I'm gonna need that small amount of wiggle room. And I'm just gonna trace the outside shape into this, and then I'll fish it in through the top, get it to line up, test fit it, adjust as needed. Once I get it where I want it, I'll clamp it in place, and then I'll just stitch weld all the way down, and then we'll press forward with actually getting this quarter attached to this B-pillar. Alright, I got the general shape here, and now I'll cut this out and test fit. Probably it'll be just about here. All this down here is unnecessary, so cut it out, cut it to there, test fit, adjust as needed, welder in. I got the piece cut out and fitted. As you can see, it's pretty decent. Let's see if I can reach back there real quick. But hand stuck. Anyway, fits pretty good. Just gotta weld it up now. And it helps keep that tip where it's supposed to be. So we're gonna buzz this in place, and then I think I'm gonna call it a night. Not done yet, but she's in there. Better than the big old hole that was there. That's hot. Don't touch that. Could almost call that perfect. There's no give there. I just realized I just threw you around. My bad. I can pull this screwdriver out now. Still gotta dress the welds, and then we'll start actually connecting the quarter panel now to the B-pillar. Everything just snowballs. So anyway, I'm gonna dress these welds up, touch up any misses, I guess, and then we'll roll into the next thing. All right, so it's a new day, which means fresh eyes, lots of rest. This is where I left off last night. We had gotten this welded in place, and I went back through and cleaned up the welds with the grinder. It's not, it's not perfectly flat. You can still clearly feel where the weld bead was, but that's not that much of an issue. Next on the agenda is to recreate this flange so we can reattach this quarter panel. I am pretty confident with the shape in relationship with the door, but I mean, you got where I had to cut out all the old welds. It's just it looks atrocious. So we're gonna cut this back to about 1/8 of an inch from the rolled corner, and then I'm gonna take some sheet steel plate, not plate, I have some 20 gauge sheet metal. I'm gonna recreate this flange with that, butt weld it together, try to take it slow so I don't blow any new holes into it, and then we're gonna space out some spot welds, and I'm gonna try and make this look somewhat factory. So that's the next step. Alright, so I have my template cut out. I decided to go a little bit bigger, and I'm going to use this as a way to kind of fill the gap a little bit. Think it'll clean it up, make it look somewhat decent. And I'll just do spot welds when I get it cut out, spot weld all the way down, and then a little bit of seam sealer or body filler, you'll never see it. Anyway, so I gotta take this template. Hold on, let me. Got some sheet steel, placed on some cardboard because I don't have a plasma cutter, and so I gotta cut it by hand. But I'm gonna trace it out with a Sharpie and just take my time and cut it, and then slowly fit it to fit the correct contours and all the good things to make it look good. So I'm gonna set you in a position so you can see, and then we'll get rolling. I know I didn't show you the welding, but some plug welds down the front here. And then I kind of use this as a way of closing up the gap to the door, as well as creating a new flange for the quarter. So I did make it a little bit thicker than normal, trying to hopefully you kind of catch what I'm getting with, trying to just make it nice and smooth. I don't know, I like it. And then what I did was my gap was good down here on the tip, so I left it touching here, and then I opened it up at the top, and I still have this part still. But as you can see, now when I close the door, that gap is way more consistent. So, gotta go with the grinder and clean the welds up, kind of round the corner over, and then when I go to primer and all that, you won't even know this happened, and it will look as good as new. So I may have gotten carried away and forgot to record, but got it cut out, and she's in. I have to say, that looks pretty damn good. Now, the metal finish isn't perfect. Obviously, got some lows because of the weld and the fact that when the quarter came out to match with the door, up here kind of wanted to suck in. So it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, but you can definitely feel a slight low right underneath my fingers there. But for a guy in his garage, I am pretty pleased. You could even say I'm tickled pink. But look at that gap. Look how much more consistent that is. All right, well, there you have it. I know originally I said that I was going to be putting both doors and both front fenders on the car, but as you can see, and as I stated earlier, things spiraled out of control rather quickly when it came to the gap on this quarter panel. I didn't realize, and frankly, it's been so long, I don't remember how bad this was when the car was together the first time. But it's fixed now, more or less. The gap is consistent. Front fender gap is consistent. Now, obviously, I'm not a professional, and there are guys way more skilled than I am when it comes to finish welding. So I do have a low spot here, because when the quarter panel came out to match with the door, you know, that tension had to go somewhere, and so it buckled in a little bit. I was able to pull it out majority before I tacked it in place, but still low. So I'll still have to come back with some body filler and cover all this up, but it's not going to be, I'm not going to be sculpting the body or I'm not going to be sculpting the body and creating body lines with the body filler. I'm just going to have a nice skim coat to cover the imperfections and make it look that much better. So anyway, with that, obviously I have the other side of the car to do. I have a feeling I'm going to run into the same issue that we did here over there. So if you want to watch me do that, if you want to tag along for that, I can't guarantee you it's going to be any different, but you can leave a comment below and say, yes, you want me to record that and share that with you. Or the next time you'll see me, it'll be engine back in the car and the hood laying on to see how much clearance I have between the engine and the hood to figure out a game plan for that. So just leave that comment below on what you would prefer to see. And with that, I say thank you for hanging out, and I appreciate the continued support that you guys give me. If I had done this without recording and sharing this with you, I probably would have taken me 6 months, because I'd have gotten so far and just walked away from it. So thanks again for hanging out, and I'll see you guys next week, and we'll come up with a game plan as to what the next steps are going to be for this car. Anyway, have a good week.